importance of early detection, the importance of education, the importance of screening. If at all possible, bring out survivors or caregivers who have been personally involved in one of those aspects. Get them to stand up in front and tell the people in your relay what it is that helps them as far as the mission of the American Cancer Society. Much more effective than you standing up telling them, I guarantee you. Also, when it comes to advocacy, if they are not aware of ACS CAN, bring that information to them, help them understand what that purpose of that organization is, and also encourage them to join and become part of ACS CAN. It's $10 a year, and for that $10, they are notified by email when we would like for them to send a correspondence to their legislature by email, encourage them to pass certain bills or increase funding. Now, it's really easy to do. The letter's already generated for them. All they have to do basically is hit send, and it's done. And it shows up under their name and their location so that their representatives and senators see that it's coming from them directly. So it really makes it easy, and there's nothing better than the legislature hearing from their constituents on what it is that they want them to do. It's really powerful. So we encourage you to have the relayers join ACS CAN and become involved that way. It's very difficult to do that at a relay. The main purpose is because at the relay itself, they're there to celebrate. They're also still in the mindset of fundraising. And $10 that someone spends to join ACS CAN does not apply to the relay. So the best time to encourage people to join and understand the importance is at your kickoff and also at the team chapters meetings, where you have the opportunity to sit down with them and go over the details of what's involved and how it really helps them. It helps us eventually find a cure for cancer. I know that we think that what we're doing in the relay is raising money for research, and we do that. But overall, nationwide, American Cancer Society has a goal, I think, around $500 million right now. So we just recently asked Congress for a $2 billion increase in funding for research, and that's an increase, not what they're already giving us. So mindset needs to be that although everything we're doing for the relay is also very helpful, it is also very important that we keep the legislatures providing that funding so we can really do some big time research. Now, I recently heard the researchers talking about the difference between the two. And what happens is the federal government wants to give their money to people who have some history behind their research. And it's something that looks promising. They've already had maybe some clinical trials, and things are looking pretty good. They've done some laboratory work, and they're willing then to take it to the next level. The American Cancer Society, on the money they raise, it will go to someone who has an idea, but not the data that's necessary to get the money from the NIH. So therefore, they don't have that funding available to them. So the American Cancer Society takes a look at their ideas and plans and tries to determine who it is that they want to give that money to. And as a result of this new research, these new ideas, the last count I heard was that we had 46 Nobel Prize winners for the research that was done as a result of the funding from the American Cancer Society. Now, my particular cancer, as an example, with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, was stage 4. At the time, in 1995, when I was diagnosed, they said, you do not have any other opportunity other than this drug we're going to give you. It's all shop. If it doesn't work, we have nothing else for you. Fortunately, it did. But they also said it would come back in 5 years because I had both a slow growing and fast growing. The fast growing they can get rid of, and slow growing cells they couldn't. But it said we'll be back in 5 years. So 5 years later, it did. And the first round was the type that you normally think about when your immune system is shot. You have a loss of hair, loss of weight, all of those with it. And the next time, they said we have a new drug that just recently was approved by the FDA. It was also, as a side note, it was a researcher from funded by the American Cancer Society who developed this drug. It was called Rituxan. In this particular drug, I had to go 4 weeks in a row. The first day took all day, and the purpose of it was to determine what side effects, reactions I would have to the drug. And it turned out that I had high blood pressure and a rash on top of my head. So from that, they were able to determine that I needed to slow the trip, and they gave me Benadryl. But once I left, that was the only side effect I had. I had nothing after I left. My immune system stayed intact. I could do anything I wanted to do, didn't have to worry fear about being cut or anything. And I had to do this 4 weeks in a row. So, having been so successful, when it came back a third time 5 years later, they said, well, now that we've done that, let's try again. So we used the Rituxan again, had to go through the same protocol, had the same reactions, but this time it worked, and now it's been 11 years. So it's possible that through the research that was done, the work that was done through the American Cancer Society, those relayers who have been raising the money all this time so that we can provide money to these researchers, I feel it's been very important. So advocacy to do all we can to raise those funds to get the legislature to pass the bills. I know many of you have been involved in passing the tobacco bills, and some of the things we've been trying to do with this legislature. Is that one of the big ones we passed in Jefferson City in the last few years was the chemo pill versus the regular chemo and the costs that were involved with that. There's a lot of things that happen with ACS and through advocacy, through Mission, that I don't know that a lot of people involved in the relay really understand what they're doing and why they're doing it, and how it really helps to help us find our victory here someday. So I know I've done a lot of talking. Does anybody else have any questions at this point?
So Jerry, I have a question for you. I know that we have our monthly advocacy letters, mission moments, and mission letters. Do you find it's better to have the handouts at the meetings, or do you think it's better just to talk to people at the meetings and have information on what ACS CAN is working on at the moment?
I think it's important to have a conversation. A handout, something they can put away and maybe not see again. I may not take the time to actually read it. I really think it's important, like I said earlier, if you can, find someone who is directly involved with it. I know in Springfield what we've done from time to time, and when it comes to missions, we'll also talk about the cancer of the month. That's the focus of this particular type of cancer this month, like October Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Have someone who's either a caregiver who was involved in that particular type of cancer, or a survivor, or both. Talk about what it meant to them to have the drugs and services available to them that help them through this process. Sometimes all we can want to see is how much money do we raise. And we really don't tie it together and say, we raised this money and here's what it did for me. And by doing it locally, it's probably somebody they know or somebody they may have heard of. and then it has a much greater meaning to them. So I would encourage you to both.
Well, and we know that if you have a survivor on your team, there's a lot of background noise. So anybody who is not speaking, could you please mute your phones? What I was going to say is we know that with a survivor on your team too, you do much better with fundraising. So besides the Cancer of the Month, are you looking at a long time at the meetings? Are you looking at just a short time at the meetings that you recommend the advocacy and mission chairs speak?
Oh, about 5 minutes.
Okay.
There's so much to be covered.
Right, but 5 minutes is not a long time. It's
No.
really a short time, and we can make it very effective. And it's always good to invite survivors to our meetings and let them know what's going on so they do see what's happening.
Usually your best volunteers are going to be either survivors or caregivers because they have a personal stake in it and they really understand the importance of it. A lot of people, unfortunately, those who come and go are those who like to celebrate and have parties. They don't always want to do the work.
That's true. So I know that we like to, as a staff partner, we ask the team sometimes to take a cancer and provide information at their site about that cancer. Do you see that as a good idea?
Yeah.
Just to, even if they pick the cancer that their survivor on their team has or one that means something to them, just anytime that we can educate, with the big poster. And
have you ever thought about having a bingo game where people have a card and they have to go to each of those sites to answer a question or find out an answer to a question about that type of cancer?
That is a great idea.
And then at the end of it, you might have a prize or something for that person who's able to come up with all the answers. It might have to be a drawing where everybody comes up with all the answers, but still, it gets them out and gets them educated on more information about each type.
That's a great idea. Now, would you want to talk about mission as well at the survivor dinner?
Yes, of course. Again, a lot of people, I find, a lot of survivors who have not been involved in any kind of relay don't really know all the services that are available to them. Again, there's a lot of people don't know anything about Hope Lodge. For example, some people don't know anything about the services to women who either lost their hair or need makeup, help with makeup. A lot of people don't know anything about the rides that are given to survivors through their teammate treatment. And if you have someone making a demonstration, if you have the time to do it, let's say you have someone from the local office come in and sit down and talk about how they go about fitting wigs. Or have one of the drivers come in and explain what they do and how they do it, and how someone who is battling cancer at that moment may use their service.
I have to share a story. I am home-based and happened to be in the office one day when a lady came in with her husband and her head was down. She wasn't looking up. She had a scarf over her head. Absolutely no eye contact. Of course, we greeted her and she was just almost nothing from this poor woman. She went in with the person who provides wigs. She came out, big smile on her face, popped into our room where we were having a meeting. She's like, "Hello, everybody. What do you think? Don't I look gorgeous?" And just her whole personality changed from, "I'm so ashamed. Don't look at me. I don't want to engage in conversation." And that is just the type of story that unless you see it, you don't believe how much this person changed. She came in and told us her story and she was all excited and totally different person.
And how powerful would that be if she came and spoke to the two captive meetings?
Absolutely.
So look for those people who have been through it, come and are willing to sit down and talk with you about what it means to them.
And so where do you suggest that our advocacy leads find that person? Should we talk to the survivor lead? Should we talk to the event lead?
I'll start with, of course, the local office of the ACS staff.
Okay.
They've been exposed to a lot of people. The person who actually does that bidding, for example, would go to all the different people they fitted for wigs, and maybe the best person to talk. You start there and then filter down to the captains. Hey, do you know anybody who would be willing to speak? Get them involved, get them thinking about it. And then you might have to keep on filtering down and down and down until you come up with someone. And if you can't, then use the staff person who does.
Okay, and I know that you did suggest that we talk to caregivers because sometimes the survivor can't or won't be able to speak, especially sometimes they're still going through their treatments and unable to get out as much as they'd like to. Mm-hmm. So of course the caregivers are a good option as well.
Yes. So take a look at all the services that the ACS has, the different missions that you're involved in, and say, which one should we talk about at this meeting? Take one, see who our best person to talk about this is. Whether it be a caregiver, survivor, staff person, or combination. You have more than one.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about one other thing. Just, I know that sometimes our advocacy and mission leads, sometimes the staff partner, sometimes survivor leads, will go and talk to groups that ask somebody to come in and talk about ACS.
Yes.
Do you do that often with ACS CAN?
Yes, two other groups of people you want to think about for your meeting. One is a program called Heroes of Hope, which I had the pleasure of being involved in 2008. So check in your area with staff. If they don't know who's locally who one of those people might be, then you can also they can go further and find out for you. Those are usually either survivors or their caregivers who have quite a passionate story to tell as to how the ACS helps them in the different missions, services, research, be a number of different topics. So look for that group of people. I think here in the Springfield area we have like 5 of them. And usually anyone is willing to speak at any kind of a meeting of your life. And the second group of people that's from the advocacy portion of it is, right now my title is the acting for Southwest Missouri. And there's a group of us within the state. Matter of fact, you may know Tim. Mm-hmm. That's what he's our boss, you might say.
Okay.
So there's I'm in Southwest Missouri. There's one in Cape Girardeau. I know Kansas City, St. Louis, Eldon. So we're all scattered around the state, and our purpose is, again, work with the legislatures and work with the ACS CAN group. And we're always willing to visit with the relays and about ACS CAN as well. You see that is a major group that we need more and more people involved. Because like I said, when the legislatures hear from people, they take notice. The more people we can get involved with ACS CAN, who will then notify the legislators we want something done, the more powerful it's going to be to help us.
Okay, so from there you should probably talk about April 5th.
Yeah, that's the date. I haven't heard the date yet. So,
they put the date on our calendar as ACS CAN Day at the Capitol.
So that's you're talking about in Jeff City?
Oh yes, sir.
Yep. Yes, that's something I was going to mention toward the end, is that when you find out when the date is, make sure that all the team captains and are aware. I don't know if they try to hold down the number of people so they're not too overwhelming, uh, but we try to get volunteers from all the relays, all the communities, and all the districts to show up in Jeff City and get their voice heard.
I believe
So
last year we had a record number of people, and they were excited to have all those people there. So
yeah, last year turned out better than the year before. That's when they had the snow in southern Missouri.
yeah, I know. We came from northern Missouri.
Yes.
So
that's.
I was going to ask, Michael, do you have any questions? I've got a couple other people on the call right now. Does anybody else have any questions?
Hey, Catherine.
Hey, Julie, how are you? So Julie is.
How are you?
Go ahead.
I was listening to you all talk.
I know, I could hear you. So, all right,
Yeah.
number come up. So Julie is from Monroe County, which is mid-Missouri, and she's the advocacy chair there. Now, Julie, you went to the ACS Can Day at the Capitol last year. You want to tell us a little bit about your experience there?
It kind of gave you they talked about a lot of it had to do. Part also seemed like kind of like the great smoke out, and got to talk to different people there about trying to get the numbers up. Well, I mean, to help so that people won't smoke as much.
And I know that the one great thing about ACS Can Day at the Capitol is I talk to my legislators, Julie talks to hers, Michael, you would talk to yours, and Jerry, you would talk to yours, and we may not have any crossover there. So we get to talk to the people that get our vote or not, depending on how much they listen to us and everything.
And most of them listen.
They do. In my small community, when I walked in, both of them knew me. They knew I'd lost my husband to cancer about 10 years ago, asked about the kids. I mean, it was great because it's a small community and these guys knew their people. So that's always good, and they're more willing to listen, especially if you walk in and you have a cancer story and you have a reason why you're relaying. So.
And this is where we like to see people follow up with that by joining the ACS Can, so that when something else comes up and we need for them to send a message out to their legislature that we want their support, that they get that message and they're able to send that email out to them without a lot of trouble. That is very powerful.
And now, Michael, did you have any questions? I know that you've been typing in the chat box, but I didn't know if you were able to come off mute and talk to us. And I am watching the chat box closely just in case. So, Jerry, are you familiar with the great big setup, for lack of a better word, because I can't think of what it's called right now, that ACS Can does have available for the events?
Yeah, there's if you go to the various websites, ACS Can has a website. Also, I think you get the term Relay Nation has a website, and there are a lot of resources on those websites as well. So I encourage you to go on those, see what you can find that will help you. Every relay is different. Every size of the relay is different. The dynamics of every relay is different. So it's something you have to look at and see what's best for you.
Absolutely. I've been to many relays, and they have everything in common, but no two are exactly alike, which makes them fun and interesting.
Yes, it does. But yeah, I would encourage everyone to, if you want more information, go to those websites and see what's available to you. make use of your staff.
Yes, please.
They're there to help you, and if they probably know more information and have access to more information than you'll ever need.
And if you need anything, I've had people call me and say, hey, can you provide something for Breast Cancer Month that we can just stick into pay stubs? And yes, we can come up with that. We've done health fairs, and they've said we really have a problem with a lot of people smoking, so we make sure we have that information. There's so much that we can provide. We even have one-pagers. I know everybody loves one-pagers. That says,
Yeah.
but it suggests the tests that you get at your age and for your sex. So of course I'm going to need different tests than Julie is, than Jerry or Michael, just because of where I am. And so these are really nice to hand to people, and they're in English on one side and Spanish on the other.
And I think it's really important to be creative. So just like I was talking about that game earlier, where you might have each booth or each team have information on one type of cancer, but then have everyone go to all of them on a bingo card. So sit down and think about how you can be creative within your own relay and getting information out. And brainstorm. Don't think it has to be just you. Don't think it has to be just your little committee. Brainstorm. Throw ideas out.
Absolutely. Make it fun for everyone, because kids love to learn more, and so do adults, when it's fun and it's not work.
Right.
I do know that at one relay they have the cardboard car race, and they made it a little bit different this year. Instead of just having the cardboard car race, they had to go pick up a survivor and take them to their appointment, and then take them home again, and then come back. And of course, the time that the survivor was with them, they had to go at the pace of the survivor, and it was really wonderful, because they were showing a little bit more about road to recovery. Mm-hmm. And so that really helped incorporate that into it, and yet into something that we've done a million times. So
that's something I always thought would be interesting. You see it. Let's say, for example, they created a pair of glasses for people to wear that would show them what it would be like to be compared to alcohol, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Where something similar to that might work very well for some people who have a certain kind of cancer. Or you might find through staff researching that there's other types of things you can do to show people really what the effect is of someone having a certain type of cancer. Someone who has brain cancer, how they're going to react to someone who has something else. Just an idea on something like that. Constantly throwing ideas out, talking amongst yourself, researching. There's no bad idea. You do that. Sometimes you be surprised what can come out of it. Somebody's got a great idea that nobody never told anyone, or no one really heard or paid attention to, that could maybe have a bigger effect on your relay than anything else.
And that's why staff partners often share ideas, or we go to each other for resources, because imitation is the greatest form of flattery. And if something has worked for me and somebody else wants to do it too, yay, go for it. Yeah. We would love to help you with it. So
it's a lot of fun.
All right.
So, and something else that can be done, I think, is just an idea, and it's important to get the community involved. And I don't know, in some communities it might be an idea of just sending a broadcast letter out to every business in town. And might need help from the staff person writing the letter, or they may even need help from the regional office to write the letter. That would try to explain to all the businesses on how finding cancer or treating cancer can help them in their business. How it can maybe decrease the number of days someone is off, and that maybe we need their help and support in finding a career so that they have more productivity out of the people they have.
Well, that sounds like a great idea. I know that when we go in and talk to groups that ask for health fairs, we always ask, is there anything else that we can do with you or for you? And often their interest has started because someone prominent, unfortunately, has a cancer diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't want to talk about that. There are those people who won't.
They don't. You'll find some people that are willing to and others that absolutely don't want to discuss that diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. And you can't embarrass them, you can't force them, you just got to help support them. And if you support them enough and be there to help them and explain to them the services that are available to them, what the mission of American Cancer Society is, maybe they'll might come around later.
That's true. They might see later how they can inspire someone else to get the help that they can.
Yep.
I hear people say that they don't deserve the help. No, I don't need it. I don't deserve it. Unfortunately, if you have that, hear those 4 little words you have, or 3 little words, you have cancer, then guess what? You are the most deserving person out there.
And I've also heard people say, well, I didn't really have any treatments, and I was caught early, so therefore, they don't see themselves as having ever had cancer. And ask them, were you scared when you heard the possibility? Think everyone else who goes through the same thing. You can still be a help.
So are there any questions that we can answer out there? I'm hearing crickets.
Me too.
Wow, Jerry, you're just a wealth of information. You've answered every single question. Wonderful.
Oh, that's first. That's a first.
All right. So, well, Jerry is our subject matter expert on advocacy and mission. If you have any questions, you're certainly welcome to ask your staff partner. Jerry, do you mind if we put out your email and phone number so that they can ask you directly if they need to?
Sure. I think it'd be a great idea.
Okay. Part of the reason why he is our subject matter expert is because he is a great volunteer. He knows what he's talking about, and he has ideas to share. So please don't hesitate to call him on those questions. So this call has been recorded. We are going to share it with everyone who was invited to the call, and I know, and I certainly understand it is a busy holiday season. So is there anything you'd like to add, Jerry?
No, I think now's a good time to get started. I know, like I said, a lot of people are busy right now this time of year. Just let them know that you're going to be back in touch with them after the first of the year. And that always best to try to find a way to make everybody feel special. Make them feel special, if they want to help you.
He's got a point there. Remember, anybody that feels valued will always give you more than you ask for. So, well, thank you everybody for being on the call. Jerry, thank you so much for being on here too and giving us stuff. Julie, did you have a question?
Oh, I wanted to remind you all that keep up the good work, and Jerry, I hope I have a opportunity next year. That will be coming around the corner, I guess. But I'm gonna try to have an opportunity. Hopefully, I'll be able to get together and we'll be able to have some more can stuff go on.
Sounds great. I look forward to it.
Yeah. So, Jerry, are you planning on being at the April event?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, good. Maybe I'll make a point to look for you there and introduce you to some of the people that were on the call. So, guys, remember to look up Jerry when you get there
Yeah.
on
Very
April
good.
5th. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your Christmas holiday. We really appreciate it, and we're glad to pass on this information. As I stated, we will be sending out an email tomorrow with the recorded call and just information on how to get to Relay Nation and other places like that that'll help us out. So thank you very much, and have a great holiday.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, you too.
Merry Christmas.
Okay.
All right, goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.